Yes, you read that right. I am starting Read Around the World challenge, and what better way to commit to it than spending more than 40 hours setting up the challenge in my journal. Yes, you heard that right, 40 plus hours. My journal of the choice is this beautiful square dark blue crayon notebook by Tiefossi. It has thick dotted pages, pocket in the back, 2 beautiful blue ribbons and numbered pages. I tend to cover up the page numbers with my decorations, but those of you who use index in your journals would surely appreciate that. I bought this journal in 2025 with the sole purpose of it being used as a journal for all my reading challenges. My reading journal at that time did not have enough pages for me to do all the reviews, let alone to take up space with reading challenges. So I was looking for some other ways to journal about all of those. I have never tried a square notebook before and I really wanted to try one, but there were none quality square notebooks available at that time that would not cost me a lot of money, mostly because shipping was and still is ludicrous, and Tiefossi was not making square journals yet, and I really wanted a square notebook. So I decided it would need to be amazing and perfect if I am to pay a lot of money for it. I eventually chose a stunning embroidered notebook from Bailey J with the moth on the cover. You have seen it a lot of time on my channel in 2025. I am still happy with the choice, don't get me wrong, but that notebook has only 120 pages, which, as it turns out, is not enough for my style of journaling and number of books I read. I had to add quite a lot of flip out pages, especially by the end of the year, to fit everything in there. I maybe could have used 2 notebooks, but I simply did not want to. I prefer to have 1 year in one notebook. Tiefossi notebooks have 160 pages. I hope that will be enough. I am using one as my 2026 reading journal and now for the reading challenges as well. And this one will be used for many years, since I don't see myself completing the Read Around the World challenge in less than 10 years or so. Okay, that was a long tangent about notebooks, but don't worry, there is more than 10 hours of footage for this setup and I did not even film everything, so I could theoretically go into a lot of tangents, but I will try not to because editing this will be a nightmare. Anyway, just to be sure, bring your blanket, hot beverage and maybe your journal as well. For now, I skipped the first dotted page in this journal. I want to make a cover page for the whole journal there, but I was so focused and so excited to work on this reading challenge setup that I will work on it later when I will be setting up the rest of my reading challenges for 2026. The cover spread for this challenge is quite simple. I was hoarding these white map washi tapes especially for this setup. As you could see in the beginning, I have 3 of those, and if I had used these tapes for every single page as I was planning to, I would use up at least 1, maybe even 2 of them. I love using these map tapes in fantasy reviews, but I have to hold myself back, otherwise all reviews would look the same with that map all over the page. There is a world map on the left side just to take up space because I had no real idea what to do there. Only I wish I printed this map a bit bigger, but oh well, it still looks nice. And on the right side there is the title. I chose this funky font for these big titles. It's called Lombardic and I think it fits so well with this challenge. The mermaid and sea traveling theme on this cover page was completely coincidental. I had no plan beyond the map washi tape and then I saw these mermaid sticker sheets from Sticky Club I got a while ago and I was like, wait a minute. and the stickers were suddenly on the spread. And I love it. The marker lines I added to the background were also a complete spur of the moment decision. I was bothered by that piece of white paper between the left bottom edge of the map and the washi tape, so I decided to continue the lines from the picture with this beige marker. It is Tombow water-based marker number 990, and I love that these lines are not disrupting what's already on the page, but also background is not white anymore. On the next couple of pages, there will be a list of all countries I am reading for, 197 to be exact. And yes, I am going to write them down all by hand. First, I am cutting out a Dutch door for the list, and I am decorating the spread again with map washi tape and some of the remaining mermaid stickers. The list of countries title is slightly different in color. I am not sure how well it can be seen after the editing, but the story is that I was thinking about having all titles this dark, rich brown color. Well, my sticker paper did not agree. I still did not have time to make proper printer test and figure out what setting is the best for paper I have, so everything got printed in this dark gray color. I tried to print it the second time, same outcome, and then I have realized I forgot to make the list of countries title, so it was made later, and I purposefully made it even lighter than the original brown color, and after that I figured that the dark gray looks so much better. I guess there being so much brown on the spread already did help gray stand out. So I am keeping the brown title here, and everything else will be in gray. For the list itself, I am doing a simple table with 2 columns on each page, and there is a box in front of each country that I will color in based on the year I finish a book for that country. These mini boxes took forever to make. I could have maybe free-handed them, but knowing myself, I would get impatient and everything would look crooked. To make this list more readable, I put in the second line highlights with the same cream colored marker. It just fit the theme so nicely. I masked off the boxes with washi tape so I could make these lines quicker, since this way I do not have to be overly precise with where to start and stop the line. Secondly, having color already in the box might change the other color I put on top, and also I was thinking about using this same marker for one of the years I will be tracking, so that would certainly be confusing. With all the second line highlights done, it is time to write down all countries in alphabetical order, just so it is easier to look through. And the paper I am using here as a reference I made myself, and it will be used later in the setup. I have been thinking about doing this challenge for a couple of years now. I kept going back and forth, not being sure whether to join in or not. But then I saw a video by Joy, or Psychonaut Journaling, here on YouTube. I saw her Read Around the World Challenge journal setup, and that's when I decided that yes, I want to do the challenge as well, and yes, I want to have a dedicated journal or a section in the journal for exactly this purpose, because this will be going on for years, and having a space to note the progress down is so important to me. And then I procrastinated on it for half a year or so. But there was always this thought in the back of my mind that yes, I want to try this challenge, so I decided to kind of soft start it in 2025, noting down from which countries the authors were, and it seemed like I made some progress, and that made it even easier for me to decide I want to fully commit to the challenge from now on. I, of course, can't find the list of countries I read from anymore, so I will make a new one. And yes, it means I will count in books and authors I read from in 2025. I will go through everything in one of the journal vlogs, no idea when, so if you are interested to see how well I did last year, please don't forget to subscribe. And at the end of this video, I will do a very first book I finished for this challenge, so you could see how this journal will work. I am not going to write reviews here because my regular reading journal is for that, and I do not want to make myself more unnecessary work and do 2 review spreads for one book. That's why noting down which year I read each book is important, because then I can go to that year's reading journal to read the review. With the power of magic and editing, the list is filled. Now I need to cover the accidental line I made before, and down under these columns there will be the legend where I will assign a different color to each year. I first made a box under each line of boxes and then in the middle of each column, but then I chickened out and added a box in between each of these. So now I have 14 years to finish this challenge. Is that enough? Is that too much? No one knows. Certainly not me. Now it's time to work on pages for the individual continents. My idea is to have a map of the continent as some kind of cover page, and after that there will be a space to add book cover for every single country. It will all make sense in a second. So here I am placing the map washi tape on top and bottom again. I have to do a strange washi tape gymnastics trying to move it to the bottom section without it rolling on itself. It is so fiddly to untangle that. And I chose to do the marker lines for the background under every map. Yes, it took forever, but it made the pages look more finished and thought through, even when I was kind of figuring it out as I went. And yes, I am starting with Europe. It is where I live, so why not? I would love if this map was placed on the left side of the spread, but it would maybe look strange, and having it like this evokes the feeling like the map continues beyond the page, which it does. I chose to read for 45 countries in Europe, and it was one of the toughest decisions I had to make, deciding especially for Europe and Asia which country to include where, since there are quite a few transcontinental ones. I eventually went with what map worked best in my journal. If that is a right choice, I have no idea, but I had to make one, so I did. I wrote a list of all countries and printed it on sticker paper. This is the Perandory Condensed font. I wanted something cute and narrow, so I could fit longer titles in easily. And then I spent a lot of time cutting all of this out. I basically make my own giant sticker sheet. There are also blank 5-star stickers at the bottom of the page, just to fill it up so that space is not wasted. And yes, I cut all of them by hand as well. Not perfectly, because I placed them way too close, but who cares? I am going to start placing book covers for the first 5 countries here on this spread. On the left page, I can fit 10 book covers on one page, and since there are 45 for Europe, I was not sure what to do with the remaining 5, how to set this up, where to place them, so they are here. That's also why I said having the map on the left would be maybe better, since then the book covers would be on the right and then continue on the following pages. Okay, before I make space for cover pages, let's add some decoration. It would not be a setup by me if there was not a sticker by Marigonasuli. So I used one of her Dark Academia witches and I put it on top of this washi tape with botanical text. Every bracket for the future placement of the book cover I simply mark by pen in the corners, and it is 6 by 10 squares big. I love using these brackets because it then makes using these pages so much easier when you know what belongs where and what was initially planned. Under each bracket there is a blank 5-star sticker, and I also highlighted one row under the stars with a marker. I was thinking to maybe write in the genre of the book or the order of the book I read in this challenge. So the note for the first book would look like 1/2025, meaning first book was read in 2025. A last book entry might end up looking like 246/2035. Who knows? 246 because not only I am reading for every country, but also for every USA state. Yeah, go big or go home. If go big means I can stay under the blanket and make decisions on my journal pages. I have realized I don't really care for the genre, and that will be also written in the review, so I will probably go with the numbering system. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know. This was the first continental spread I made with map and everything, and I am kind of sad now that Europe was the first one, because I decorated other spreads so much more. I even experimented with the placement of the book covers and decoration between them, and I added some flip outs. This journal went through a lot of growth in just this setup alone, so yeah, I kind of wish I made this differently, but it is still cute. Next is Asia. Going in again with the marker lines and map washi tape, but this time I add this cream cloud washi in as well. I was already getting kind of bored with only the map decoration, even when it looks very nice. I still love it, but I craved something more, something different. These are already pages 14 and 15 of this journal, so I'd say it is understandable. This map was also a bit of a pain because I just could not find a map with all countries I needed it to have in the style I wanted it to be. So I have to draw the left section myself. I would not be surprised if I made a mistake there, but I honestly was so tired from figuring all of this map business out that I will have to figure out if it is okay or not when I will need to color that part of the map in. I was just so overwhelmed by all of this. Excited, but overwhelmed. And guys, this has become my favorite spread of this whole setup because I used this absolutely stunning Red Panda sticker by Julie Art World. These stickers are so big and such a great quality, and I have had them, yes, multiple, we'll see a couple more later. I've had these for a few months already, and I just could not make myself to use them. They are just so stunning. But I figured since this journal will be in use for many years, this could be a nice place for them, so I can keep seeing them. There is a link to Julie Art World shop down in the description, so you could check her amazing art out. And there are also links to everything used in this setup. Just a heads up, there is a lot, but also not everything might be still available. There are a couple of my favorite artists who stopped selling products, so there are only links to everything I could find links for, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I did not want to go fully overboard with decoration, so I used this simple black and white washi tape and a light brown grid one as a background behind the Red Panda, and that was almost everything, but I could not leave so much of the page empty, of course, so I put lots of circle and circlet stickers all around the spread, and also some other smaller stickers from one of the sticker books by Izobova. She just closed her shop, which is sad, but absolutely understandable. That must have been a tough decision, and I wish her only the best. There are 48 countries I want to read for in Asia, and here you can see how I can fit 20 book covers on one spread. And as you can see, I am completely ditching the map washi tape now, using the same cloud tape as I did on the previous spread, and a cute bookshelf one on the bottom. And then I go through the list of countries and add them one by one on top of each bracket or book cover holder or whatever is that blank space called. This big paper I pick individual countries from is a list of all of them in alphabetical order, and I am also putting these countries in alphabetical order in the journal. But this list I made is not sorted based on the continent, so I have to go through it very slowly to not skip any country. Also, I have a very handy and very colorful cheat sheet right off the camera view where I can double check if everything is okay. It's the same list, only I highlighted every country with a different marker based on which continent it belongs to. I just love color coding stuff. And because there are 48 countries and I could fit only 40 on those two spreads, and I did not want to use up another page because then I would not be sure what to do with the leftover one. Since I want to start each continent on its own spread, I hope I make sense, guys. Anyway, I cut out a page from the back of this notebook and made this tip in that I add in the middle. I forgot to print name tag for one of the countries, but don't worry, it will be there by the time for the flip through. And I am not sure if I had already said that, but I will fill this challenge in based on the author. So either where they were born or where they currently live. It will be individual for every single one. Africa. This is also a very cute spread. I have had this grassland PET tape for months now, and I could not wait to use it. It is so stunning, but it also takes up a lot of space, so I won't use it for book cover pages since I need that space, but we will see it again today. For the top of the spread, I chose a sky washi tape again, this time in pink because I am going to add in another stunning sticker by Julie Artworld, this cute rabbit. Isn't he adorable? I got so excited when I decided to work on this journal, and when I get excited, I get excited a lot. I wanted to make great pages for each continent, and I am going to be honest, I even could not sleep for days. I kept thinking about what to do, what to add, what pages to have, what stationery I own that would best suit each continent, and I chose this rabbit for Africa because I did not really have stationery that would fit thematically. Seems I should not only diversify my reading but also my stationery, but there are rabbits native to Africa, so this is as close as I could get. There are some small countries or isles I needed to draw in myself again, and I placed them roughly where they should be. Also, they are certainly not to scale, but I needed something I could color in, some kind of blob. So when glancing at the map, I would know I read for that country. Also, I am going to use different marker for each year, so all these maps would get pretty colorful with time, hopefully. I did not say it yet, I think, but I will color in the country on the map and also add a book cover to the bracket for each country. I am adding some background noise on the pages with these mini square stickers, and there is also a pink moth next to the map just to fill that space in. The book cover pages are also quite colorful. I went out of my comfort zone and used washi tapes and stickers I would not use together any other time probably, but here it works. There are 54 countries in Africa I want to read for. That's the highest number for a continent, and I think maybe one where sourcing books would be most difficult, but I will figure stuff out. If I won't be able to find author from a country, not only in Africa, but for any country, I am going to read a book that is set in that country. I will try not to do it often, but this rule will make this challenge more manageable. Since there are 54 book covers to be added, I figured I could put 9 of them on each page, which will take 6 pages, since 9 times 6 is 54, and that will take exactly 3 spreads, which is perfect. That is why I am adding more decoration on each page. It is to take up a space of one of the book covers, since instead of 10 books, I need to fit in only 9 this time. And here I am using my reusable sticker book where I put designs from the washi tape sticker rolls, so I don't have to unroll tons of different washi tapes and then roll them all back in search of different designs. It takes time to transfer everything to this book, but I usually put on an audiobook or some music and have a relaxing session. These stickers are from the washi tape shop, and while I think these girl stickers are not available anymore, the window stickers I used on the last spread still are. Also, guys, I am still battling with a flu or something, so my voice is sometimes cracking and uneven, but I hope that's okay. Next we have Australia and Oceania, and I was so excited to work on this spread because there is this ocean PET tape I thrifted few weeks ago and I have been dying to use it in my journal since. It is originally from Notebook Therapy and it has this amazing hollow effect. It is very fitting for the waves and ocean and stuff like this. The second PET tape is from the same set. It has lots and lots of cute designs, from fish to corals, whales and bubbles, so adorable. But these are not pre-cut, so I had to do it myself just before I started filming this spread. The material itself is kind of flimsy. I do not have a better word for it. It's maybe because of the hollow coating. And it was definitely testing my patience, but these designs are so worth it. I am not sure about the blue sky tape. At the top, the whole spread is maybe now way too blue. What if I put those green clouds there instead? I don't know. What do you think? And guys, there was another stationery item I was extremely excited to use, and that's this sticker sheet with sheep and a girl reading. How perfect. I just could not use it anywhere else than where Australia and New Zealand are, since these are famous for sheep wool and lamp production. It's a big thing there, and what better way to appreciate it than with this sticker sheet. There are 14 countries to read for, and I have spent a lot of time thinking about how to fit them all in, but since I so wanted to use these cute stickers, I chose to use them to fill up space between book covers, and it turned out amazing. This is one of my favorite book cover spreads in this setup. And this is also why I said before that I wish I made something more cute, more decorated for Europe as well. If that will bother me too much, I might change it up, but first I will need to come up with some good strategy to do that. Also, this green washi tape on the bottom has some adorable sheep as well. It's perfect. For North America, I went with the snowy theme. And yes, mostly because I was excited to use this snow-themed PET tape and yet another sticker from Julie Art World. While snow leopards are not native to North America as far as I know, I chose it because there is snow in the design. Yes, that's it. I had no better sticker to use here, so I hope North Americans won't get mad at me. I had a hard time fitting the full map into the page, so I had to cut off a bit of Greenland. I am so sorry. And yes, I know I could maybe put Greenland in the Europe section, but I went geographically and included it here. I again put this black and white tape and the one with the grid as a background, and I also accidentally stumbled upon this tape with green and blue flowers, so I added it in. Then circles and circlets, of course. I don't have many of those left, so I chose to use green and orange ones, since they fit the color scheme the most. For the book pages, we are partially back to the map washi tape, and I put this purple scalloped one with butterflies and moons on top. I just wanted to change things up a bit again. I had 24 countries to fit in, so I added a small flip out section where I will fit 2 books on each side. I love adding these small interactive elements in my journals. They are so fun. And the last but not least is South America, and the grassland PET tape is back. So exciting. This time I managed to fit the whole map on one page. I had to put it in a bit crookedly, but I think that's fine. And since there are only 12 books to read, I will add them right here on the right page. And there was again a cute mini flip out needed to fit everything in. There is not much decoration, I know, but this green tape is so pretty, and this spread will get much more colorful with book covers added in, just as in the Europe section. Okay, this should be all for a Read Around the World challenge, but as I mentioned before, I am also doing the Read the USA challenge. I am reading lots of books by American authors, and filling in entire USA section with only one book was not that exciting to me. So I decided to make it more difficult for myself and read for every state separately, which raised the number of books I need to read for the entire challenge to 246. That is a scary number, I know. In one of my following journal vlogs, I want to go through all my reads of 2025 with you and figure out for how many countries or states I have already read. Because right now I have absolutely no idea, none at all. Decoration is quite simple, again with the map tape, and I also had these cute traveling and writing themed stickers in my reusable sticker album, so I put all of them here. I do not have a written list of all US states here. Also, I did not include it in the list in the beginning of this journal because I simply forgot, but also just glancing at the map and then looking through book covers should be quick enough, no list necessary. This time I used different girl stickers in blues and browns to fill up the pages. They are all either reading or traveling or enjoying their day-to-day life, so they felt like cute addition to these pages. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that I do also have one of these travel sketch maps. One of my friends had an idea that it could be awesome to see progress on a map like that as well, so I asked for one for Christmas and I got it. That might be a good option for those of you who would maybe like to try this challenge, and simply writing down countries read in a notebook is not enough, but this style of journaling is too much for you, totally understandable. Maybe the scratch map might be something you would enjoy. I love the act of coloring in the boxes or checking off the list, adding in book covers or scratching to reveal part of something, so this journal and the challenge itself is exactly what I need. The said map is waiting to be hanged on a wall, so I am not going to show it to you today. I still have to figure that out, but you will for sure see it one day on my channel. Before I do the final flip through, let me add in here the first book I finished in 2025. That was Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. He is the US author, so I am coloring in the USA box in this list. And I chose the same cream marker for 2025 as I did use for everything else in this setup. And for 2026, I am thinking about using maybe something green or red. I am not sure yet. On the map, I can color in the whole USA section, which you might see now. Why I edit in all states individually as well. This just feels like cheating or something, even when this book was more than 1,000 pages long. So I color it in, and then I add the book cover into the USA bracket. And that's on this little flip out. How awesome. Now we can flip to the Read the USA challenge and color one of these states in here as well. If my research was right, meaning I looked him up on Goodreads, he was born in Lincoln, Nebraska. So let's color that one in. I love how it is almost in the middle of the whole map. What a beautiful start. I will also put the book cover into the Nebraska section. And under the star rating, I put the number of the book read for the challenge, so 1/2025. And it's done. As I said, all reviews will be in individual reading journals. And that is the full setup finished. All 44 pages of it. I am so excited with how it turned out, and I am so ready to officially start this challenge. Let me know if you are taking part in it or if you thought about joining. It is scary, I know. I am sure there is a whole section on YouTube where people talk about this challenge. I have not dived into that yet, but I am sure I will find some great book suggestions there. That said, if you have a favorite book written by author born or living in your country, please let me know in the comments. I will need lots of help. Also, I am now kind of happy I live in Slovakia because I can see that many people might have a problem finding something written here, especially translated. So that's one less research to make, I guess. I was reading books in Slovak and Czech language as a child, so I guess Czechia might be slightly easier for me as well. Famous last word, right? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have absolutely a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.